of Gaza of the wall, financed by $3.1 billion in U.S. aid every year.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Shame! All of this part of a longer history of efforts to preserve Western interests in the Middle East. I also understand as a historian that King, if he were alive, would be standing with us today. As an American, I spent many years paying taxes that help support the Israeli and U.S. war machines. As a fairly new Canadian, I am dismayed that my new country's government seems to prefer to march in lockstep with U.S. and Israeli policy instead of acting like a sovereign state. And as a Jew, I have a particular connection to the struggle for peace and justice in the Middle East. Like many American Jews, I grew up learning a great deal about my own heritage, which includes a long history of expulsion, exclusion, and extermination, which will be familiar to many people here, not only among Jews, but in their own groups as well. I learned that because of this history, my people had a special obligation to stand up against discrimination and tyranny, to not be silent, to not stand by. I also developed in religious school, Hebrew school, summer camp, a strong sense of identity with Israel, which we learned was a land without people, for a people without land. I learned that the Jewish state must always be protected in the event that we needed a safe haven again someday. In my late teens, I started asking questions about other issues, U.S. policy in the Persian Gulf and Central America, economic equality, racism at home and abroad, and eventually some friends, also Jewish, like many of the people I knew on the political left, started giving me things to read, some by Palestinians, some by Jews, including high-ranking Israeli officials. I discovered a history that for all of my learning, I had known virtually nothing about. It's a devastating history, and letting go of what I learned was a wrenching experience. Fortunately, I found that letting go was not an isolated experience. Among the strongest voices driving support for Israel and its policies are mainstream Jewish organizations that promote the Zionist principles I learned in my youth. These groups strive to mobilize the Jewish diaspora to embrace Israel's interests as their own. I understand now my own training in Zionism as part of that political project taking place as it did in the years following the '67 war. But there is not just one Jewish perspective, not just one Jewish voice. Many Jews have let go of that training precisely because they also embrace a social justice vision that is incompatible with support for the policies of the Zionist state. But letting go isn't enough. Like King, we have to break silence too. And some do. There are Jews everywhere, including in Israel, who have been speaking out against the occupation and other Israeli atrocities for many years. We can find their voices in the pages of the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, in the Israeli human rights organization B'Tselem, in groups such as Jewish Voice for Peace in the U.S. and Independent Jewish Voices in Canada. And we can find them in the in the Israeli military. Beginning with the 1982 invasion of Lebanon, Israeli aggression has produced waves of dissidents from within the Israeli Defense Force and the reserves. Groups of veterans who refused to serve in the occupied territories and in some cases refused to serve in the military at all. They have names. There is a limit. Courage to resist. Today, the Veterans Organization, Breaking the Silence, has made public nearly 1,000 testimonies of former Israeli veterans to educate people about conditions under occupation. This past March, a group of 60 Israeli high school students publicly declared their refusal to serve. On Wednesday, more than 50 reservists issued a signed public petition in the Washington Post articulating their refusal to serve. All are explicit in their condemnation of occupation, its horrific impact on Palestinian people, and its impact on Israeli society. Make no mistake, this dissent is risky. Advocates of the Zionist project have powerful voices and a long arm. They rightly perceive that breaking silence is a serious threat. That's why we must continue to do it. We We need to be as visible as possible in our opposition to help our dissident allies in voicing their opposition wherever they may be. It is up to us, with our voices and our actions, to stand for peace and justice in the Middle East. As the great anti-slavery advocate Frederick Douglass, himself a former slave, said in 1857, "Power can seize nothing without a demand."